Hey guys, welcome to another spoiler video. So some awesome stuff today. We got another ruler as well as some great support finally for some dinosaurs. So I'm actually really excited about this, and I'm really digging the look of these cards as well. So we'll just go ahead and start with the ruler, which is the Dusk Girl. So this is a fairy tale. Judgment is 1 dark, and you can only play this ability if you have no cards in your hand, which is a theme you're going to see for the rest of these cards. A really interesting mechanic. Energizes for red and black. And you can pay 1 red and discard a card, and this card will deal 500 damage to target resonator. If you discarded a dinosaur, it does 700 damage instead. So right away you're seeing some interaction with dinosaurs somewhat, and basically a kind of lightning strike, more demon flame-ish kind of, where it just does 500 damage to a resonator. But that's just a cool ability to have, and as you'll see, obviously with just the judgment alone, you kind of want to discard cards. So it works well, and if you have a dinosaur, that extra bit of damage can really help you out. Once she activates, she becomes Scarlet, the Crimson Beast. So it's a 1000 attack, 200 defense Cthulhu. It has swiftness, imperishable, precision, and first strike, which is pretty awesome. And she has a passive ability of damage cannot be prevented. So that's a pretty interesting ability. So I assume the interactions are things like, well, I can't think of anything on the top of my head. Or like Faria, I guess, from Vingo 3, if she gets around that, or is it Faria? Sure, we'll go with that. And different things like that. So that's the first mechanic of its kind that we've seen. It also has, whenever a J resonator that was dealt damage by this card, this turn is destroyed, you get to recover this card, and you play that ability only once per turn. So she can, because of her first strike, she can swing in, kill a resonator or J ruler, and because of that, she gets to recover and swing in and maybe kill another resonator, or swing in for amount of damage. Or if you have some other mechanic that is able to trigger off of her to deal damage, you can get a lot of different combos off, I think. She also has the passive ability. You can pay 1 red, and it gains plus 200 attack and 200 turns. So you can really pump her up a lot, especially considering when you judgment, you're only going to be paying 1 at the end of the day. So you're going to have a lot of open will most likely. So you'll be able to swing in for quite a bit with your swiftness just off the bat and wipe most things off the field. With her precision as well, she'll be able to swing into things pretty easily. Things like IU and maybe Farrer that are usually high attack, and just tapping down 4 will automatically, you're at 1800 attack now, which can deal with a lot of threats. Next we have Voidosaurus. Pretty cool looking dinosaur. It's a 6 cost 1400 dinosaur. Has this new ability called Null. So it gains, whenever you see that null effect, whatever text is by it, it'll automatically gain it as long as you have no cards in your hand. The null ability for him is you pay 4 void less to play him. So, assuming you've judgmented, which you would have no cards in your hand, and you drew him, or some combination of that, pull him from your graveyard, etc. He's a 2 cost 14/14, which is pretty awesome in my opinion, and it's a cool looking card. I'm pretty excited about that. Getting some dinosaur love. We have Dark Impact. It's a 4 cost card. Destroy target resonator. You may put a dinosaur from your hand into the field. So this is pretty great, I think. It makes dinosaurs relevant because they've always been this sort of weird thing that they're high cost with decent stats, but they don't have any abilities to accompany those stats a lot of the time. So they're just sort of these vanilla type of things, and they have no way of protecting themselves or really benefit of playing them. And this automatically gives you a benefit for 4 cost. 4 cost is a bit high for destroying a resonator, but when comboed with that second effect, it's great. I mean, you can instantly put the previous resonator, the Voidosaurus, in. So for 4 cost, you're destroying potentially a giant resonator, and you're putting out a 14/14 in response. And lastly, we have Look of Despair. It's a 3 cost chant, and it has your opponent discards 2 cards, and it has a null as well. And if you have no cards in your hand, your opponent discards 3 cards instead. So basically, if you have null, it's a card per will you paid for it. So for 3, you're having your opponent discard 3 cards. You can have some pretty great control of your opponent, and especially since this is a dark cards and all that, combo this with a lot of the other different things, as well as the new card that was revealed. I forget the name of, and you can just control your opponent's hand quite a bit. And so there could be a lot of interesting combinations with this that I'm pretty excited for. I'm really looking forward to this new null mechanic and having no cards in your hand. It's cool because doing so you unlock a lot of abilities, but obviously you have no cards in your hand, so you don't have a lot of countermeasures and things like that. So if they figure out a way to wipe your field, etc., then you're sort of out of luck. But a lot of different crossplay, so I'm excited. This and iMul and those types of mechanics, and hopefully the starter deck we'll find out pretty soon. Sounds like it'll have its own mechanics. Has a lot of different diversity, especially at the local level. People who don't just want to go play fair, they want to play some fun decks. There's a whole plethora of things, it seems like, that aren't just going to be like, hey, I'm going to play golems and you know, hope for the best. These are legitimately good and fun decks, so I'm really looking forward to this. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow.